Well, welcome everyone to this episode of the podcast. This is episode 65, I believe, and we are continuing in our conversation about the art of connection. I'm so excited to chat you guys through today what I'm calling hook, line, and sinker. And the reason why I detailed it that way is because I really want to chat with you guys about how to connect with individuals, even if you are trying to get your point across in a really, really short period of time. For example, like an elevator pitch. So whether you're actually in an elevator or you are going through an interview in a pageant sense or in a regular job interview, these tips today will astronomically help you to ensure that you are dynamic and charismatic all in less than 30 seconds. Well, what's up, everybody? I'm so excited for this episode. We are going to talk about hook, line, and sinker, specifically your hook, your line, and your sinker, how to get your point across in 30 seconds or less. So as a coach of pageant women in interview, one of the biggest things that women come to me for help about is, Coach Megan, I ramble on and on and on and on and on, and how do I stop talking? And I call it landing the plane. We talk about landing the plane all the time. Obviously, it's super important in terms of a top 5 question. I'm working with a lot of high school America girls right now. They have nationals coming up next month. And so if you make top 5 in that organization, they actually all get the same top 5 question, which I think is super cool. And I wish more organizations would do that with the whole cover your ears headphone thing, because I think it really is a great baseline to see the different girls' intellects and also their ability to work on the fly. But in this case, they actually know the question ahead of time, which is pretty cool. So if you're not prepped for that, I don't really know what you're doing. Maybe you need to hire Powerhouse Pageantry to work with you. But with onstage questions, typically they're timed to 20 or 30 seconds. And a lot of people have so many words, including myself, to get across. And so it can be incredibly difficult to feel like you can get all those things across and really drop in, share what you mean, and get out of there. So today I wanted to really emphasize that. But before we get into everything today, I have some really exciting news. So I've been kind of dangling a carrot for you guys for a long time now about the Interview Mastery Academy. And I'm so excited to announce that we are going to be accepting the first class of Interview Mastery Academy classmates, whatever you want to call it, who will get to go through this course on a beta launch level. So we're not going to officially launch it perfectly until the beginning of 2021, which I know will be probably too late to start a lot of you guys' prep. Even if you are competing next summer, I suggest at least 9 months of prep. It takes so much longer to, I won't say fix, but change and grow in the internal than it does in the external. You can really transform your body in a matter of like 12 weeks, depending on how much weight you have to lose or weight you have to gain, depending on your goals, muscle you have to gain. But the internal work takes a lot longer. Some of it can be instant transformation, but we have deeply rooted habits anywhere from, 13, 12 years old, which are my youngest clients, all the way through 27-year-olds. So if you can think about how long we've been developing a lot of those habits, that's why it takes longer to work on some of that internal transformation. So with the Interview Mastery Academy, what we're going to be doing is I'm accepting 100 people into the beta class. What is a beta class? You guys are going to be the initial class of participants who get to go through every element of the course. It's brand new. I'm so excited about it. We will walk you through everything from mindset to paperwork to platform and social impact if you're an MAO, just regular platform if you are in other organizations. Even if you don't have a specific platform that is necessary, it's still really important to have a community project that you are involved in, that you're passionate about, that you can talk about. It's super, super important in terms of contextually for your interview, just to give some more depth and some well-roundedness as to who you are. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how to answer in our advanced questions framework, our confident values codex, making sure that you are eliminating self-doubt and sense of failure or fear of success forever. I'll give you a couple book suggestions. We have a whole resource tab with the best ways to raise money for your pageant prep. I've had several girls who have gone through our program who are working part-time jobs and going to school and are able to find even my one-on-one coaching, money for my one-on-one coaching, and so which is much more expensive than this course will be. And so I want to give you guys firsthand access to that. All of my listeners, it's going to be incredible. We'll go through how to answer tough current events questions. We'll use things like this of how to really practice answering in a concise way, how to develop your personality. We'll have you go through personality testing and kind of explain that a little bit, and you'll be under the knowledge of how you can use that, why you need to use that. I'll also walk you through things like making sure that your interesting facts tab of your paperwork is super, super interesting. Paperwork is one of the best areas that individuals fall short on. I won't say best areas. It's one of the number one area that people fall short on, I would say most often. And then you wonder why your personality isn't coming through or judges aren't asking you interesting questions about yourself. If you're finding that you're getting a lot of current event questions or kind of fluff pageanty questions, opinion-based questions, your paperwork just may not be as interesting as it can be. And so there are tons of incentives to join the the Interview Mastery Academy now. You'll get discounts on the Inner Circle in perpetuity. You'll actually get 50% off the Inner Circle, which is incredible. And you'll also get access to one-on-one coaching as I kind of phase into the next season of my life. I'm going to be doing less one-on-one coaching and sending a lot more people to this online course so you can learn my system first. And then once you've proven that you can go through that system, then you can work with me and upgrade to individual sessions on platform or mindset or paperwork, and that'll be super, super awesome. But beta testers, we're going to have 100 of them. You will get the course for 50% off of what it's going to be sold at. So if you want to get on that wait list, please, right now, do not walk, run. DM us on Instagram or send us the website's not up yet, but just send us your information in the contact us form at powerhousepageantry.com, and we'll get you all hooked up. We have 2 payment options for that. Like I said, it's 50% off, and you will also, ding, 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 get grandfathered in. Okay, you'll get grandfathered into the full program when it comes out in the beginning of 2021. What does this mean? It means that you're going to have all the same information. Everything will be in this beta course. You'll have everything in terms of information that you need to be successful. It's an 8-week course, but then we'll put all the bells and whistles on it in January when it comes out, and we'll make it pretty, and aesthetically way more pleasing and all that stuff. But you'll also have the opportunity to give some feedback if you feel like something's missing, if you feel like I needed to explain something a little better. I'm all about feedback, and I'm always trying to grow as a business owner and a leader as well. So make sure that you hop on the list for that. I'm only taking 100 people to go through this course, and then they'll have to wait another almost 6 months for it. And it'll be double the price. So we're only going to leave the card open for about 2 weeks. It's not officially open yet. It will open in about 2 weeks from now. But you guys can get on the wait list, the pre-save list for that, as my podcast listeners, as my gift to you. So Interview Mastery Academy, it will change your life. It will absolutely show you everything, every single bit of my system. And I really have made this to be a total replacement for my one-on-one coaching. So I super duper care about this, and just trying to look ahead of hopefully when I win Miss USA, obviously I won't be able to do as much coaching anymore. And so I wanted to honor all the clients that I have and women who are in my circle already who are going to be competing next year, but also all of you guys who are new individuals who are listening or watching as well, and make sure that I'm serving you to the greatest capacity that I can. So that's enough on that. Join the Interview Mastery Academy, fill out the contact us form on our website, powerhousepageantry.com, or just DM us, email us. It's really not hard to get in contact with us. I promise myself or my assistant will reach back out to you in a timely fashion. Okay. So let's dive into today's podcast. The Art of Connecting Part 2, your hook, your line, and your sinker, how to get your point across in 30 seconds or less. So super excited about this. Like I said, we're talking about how to speak more succinctly, and not just in on-stage question, but also in interview. The reason why it's important to not go on and on and on and on an interview, and I'm learning this for myself as well, is because some interviews like Miss USA and a couple other organizations, you only have 3 minutes, right? That's why we talk about your super stories. It's really important to know what are kind of the 3 things that you really want to get a point across in terms of that short interview. If you're MAO, you have a little bit longer, obviously. But I want to help you guys understand that the more questions that they can ask you, the deeper that you can kind of get with the judges. And so many of my clients, when they first come to me, say, well, I feel like I leave the interview room and I just didn't talk about what I wanted to talk about. Or, well, the judges didn't ask me the questions that I wanted. And so these things are really going to help you drop in deep. I was telling a client yesterday, we don't want to go shallow and wide. I'd rather that you go deep. And the cool thing is you can still go deep on several answers, several reactions to questions, but really knowing your super stories and also knowing your hook, line, and sinker, which is what we're going to talk about today, just a different way of describing that, will help you to have those things top of mind so that no matter what they ask you, you end up walking out of that interview being like, dang, I crushed that, and I talked about everything that I wanted to get across, which is super important, okay? So here's the first way that I would suggest doing this. So we're not going to get into my full secret super stories framework because you got to join the Interview Mastery Academy for that. But your hook, the first thing is, and you guys can take notes on this. This would be a great opportunity to take notes. Your hook is your personal experiences and anecdotes of your life. One way that I would suggest doing this, and that I do this personally, is I keep an Evernote. I keep something in a note section, and also I have journals all around me all the time that I'm keeping track of the kind of phrases that come to my mind, or if I'm speaking about something and I go back and listen to a recording of a speaking event, or like last week, there's sometimes just things that come out of your mouth that you're like, dang, that was really good, or wow, I really like the way that I described that. Or maybe you're even at coffee with somebody and something just comes out of your mouth and you're like, dang, that was good. Keeping a centralized place where kind of your hooks, your isms, the way that you describe things that come out of your mouth, having a centralized location for that is super important. Here's where I think we go wrong. And I used to be the notebook queen, so I'll raise my hand for this. But I used to have several different notebooks in several different places where I kind of wrote things down, and I was like a one sheet wonder kind of girl. I love like physical paper. I love writing things down. But how many of y'all know that after a while, you just kind of have like 40 pieces of paper and this giant mess everywhere, and it makes your desk dirty. Your environment is so much related to your productivity, as we talked about on Wake Up Wednesday this last time. It's so important, and those things are so correlated. I would highly encourage you to get one central place where you can kind of keep all these hooks, because the hook, think about it like in advertising, right? It's like a headline, it's like a title, it's a centralized kind of mission statement. I hate the word mission statement though, because it's really lame and kind of outdated. But for example, we just changed our website about a month and a half ago, and it's because I read this book and it was talking about how important it is to kind of simplify a lot of the words on your website to get your message across. And so I regularly change my Instagram bio. I regularly change my website, and if you'll notice, go to powerhousepageantry.com. I changed it to "We help women win interviews" at the top, because no one gives a rip. No one cares about all my stats and 8,000 paragraphs about me and about the company and blah, 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 blah. What do they want to know? You guys want to know, can she help me win interview? And we can, right? We had a 95% success rate in 2019. Obviously, there haven't been pageants in 2020 yet. So we're going to crush it. Our first national pageants are in a month. I'm so excited. Actually, 5 weeks. So I'm so excited. Like I said, we're working with some HSA, High School America, and junior teen clients. I'm so excited about that. So excited because I know they're going to crush it. And I want pageants in my life. I miss them so much. I miss having, getting to see my clients' wins. That's what drives me and fuels me so much, is knowing that the things that we're putting into practice are working for them. That's why you guys hire me. So a couple of the things that I use, that I will continue to use for Miss USA, are these are a couple of my phrases. A 2-time Miss Nebraska, winning both on my first try. The first sisters in Nebraska to ever both win Miss Nebraska. I help women win interviews, period. Changing the world for women. And this is one Real Talk Kim says all the time, making sure you're not bleeding on people who didn't cut you. Getting people unstuck. Helping people develop into lady legends in life. So those are some of my kind of catchphrases. I want you guys to maybe pause this episode and write down, think about what some of those catchphrases would be for you. What are some of the things that people talk about you about? What are things people say about you? What are the things that you're known for in your industry or your area of community service or your specific demographic? Write those things down. Those are super, super important. So that's your hook, okay? So keep a list of those things, and as you continue to develop those things, that's really going to help you get your point across. And what I call is as an anchoring point to drop that anchor and really let people know who you are on the forefront, so that, you know, you're not having one of those things where somebody asks you a question, either an onstage question or an interview, and you're kind of going around the mountain, and then landing. And we were just actually wondering the whole time whether you heard the question or not. So we weren't really listening until you actually anchor your question with a head-on yes or no or acknowledgement of that question. I'm not really listening because I don't know whether you heard it or not, and I'm just hoping that you don't biff it. So, fun fact about that. Next, we're going to move to your line. So hopefully you wrote down some hooks for yourself. Next is your line. Your line, so think about a fishing line. Okay, this is the thing that's connecting you to your hook. The line. It's the medium of exchange, okay? Medium of exchange. That's a tongue twister. So your line is going to be your subject. Here are a couple examples of that. It could be your platform, your social impact, your hobbies, your unique qualities, your interesting facts, your idiosyncrasies, your habits, your family, your town life, your height, something you love about yourself, maybe a unique career path that you're taking, or unique abilities that you have, like fun facts, okay? So those are some examples. I'd say that, you know, your platform, your career, your family life, some of those things definitely are going to come up in interview. Your passions, your interests, your hobbies, like I said, those are your subject lines. They're really, really important because your hook should be about those things. It's what we call super stories around here, right? And that's also the thing that ensures that you're not just talking about random crap and you're not just kind of filibustering on like a random thing. I was just talking with a client again yesterday, and she told me a story. And at the end of the story, I said, okay, did you leave me on a negative or a positive note? And she goes, oh, crap, negative. And I said, well, then what do you think that you're going to be leaving emotionally the judges with? And she's like, oh my gosh, negative. And I said, leaders turn things into a positive. Even if it's a dark situation, they figure out how to keep putting one foot in front of another and can, you know, keep on keeping on basically to achieve their goals and to get unstuck in those different things. Also, if you're stuck in a place, it's why you hire leaders, coaches, mentors, people who can help push you a little bit and make sure that you're not getting stuck. That's the purpose of coaches. And so they were like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I didn't realize I was just kind of telling them this story, but I said, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point? I always tell them, what's the point? Why? Okay. So that leads us to number 2. The second part of your line is your objective. So once you find your subject, you need to ask yourself, why are they here? Why am I here? What am I here to say? And why should they care? So why are they here? Why am I here? What am I here to say? And why should they care? That's super important so that you're not just telling random stories about random subjects, but actually that's how you get the point across that you want to, and you walk in an interview being like, dude, I crushed that. Next, number 3 is your audience. So we stack all these things together, and you need to approach your audience based off what you know about them. So some pageant systems never find out about their judges. Some pageant systems find out the day before. Some pageant systems you find out a month before or a couple weeks before, which is awesome. But regardless of what that is, okay, if you do have any kind of information, and also you're a smart person, so you're not judging a book by its cover, but you can listen to the bios or grab a program book of your pageant, you know, as soon as you can. And typically you can kind of know at least the day of, right? Do a quick read through, connect them to some of the subjects, the storylines that you feel the most confident in, and base your approach off of that, okay? So your audience are going to come with a wide variety of different sets of ideals. They're going to come from different backgrounds, different parts of the country, different cultural backgrounds, and we need to adjust our answers based off of what we know from our audience. It doesn't mean that you switch your beliefs, which is a common misconception. I don't ever teach my clients, don't share your beliefs. But there are a couple tools that we use with each of our clients on how they can do that. But just know that tons more than just your communication is still communicating when you're in front of a judge. Your nonverbals are communicating, your looks, what you're wearing, your hair and your makeup, your height, they're all communicating. Your greeting and your exit are communicating, and also your carriage, the way that you walk, are all communicating and either gaining you points or subtracting points from who you are and what you're doing. So it's super important to know your audience so that your subject, your line is actually reaching that audience and it's not just falling short. Oh, that was my email. So next you need to ask yourself a couple things. What am I talking about? Who is involved? Where is it? When is it? Why is it? How do I do it? Do my answers reinforce or explain my objective? Do they relate to my listener, and do they connect with my approach? I think if we were just to ask ourselves those questions and then listen back to our interviews, you'd realize that the ways that we fall short are because we're not quite focusing on those things, okay? And when you're not going deep enough, people walk away from interview and they wonder all the time, well, I just feel like this judge didn't get to know me. I just feel like this judge, I feel like I didn't go deep enough with them. I didn't share my stories. And I'm like, it's because you didn't actually care about the why behind the what. You just focused on the what, and that's going to be your downfall, okay? So make sure the line goes all the way across to your audience. Super important. Next is going to be your sinker. Okay, so what is going to ultimately... You've dropped the line, and what's going to catch the fish, okay, if we're just working on that analogy. So the last thing is you got to ask for it. There's a really famous Bible verse that says basically, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you, ask and it will be given unto you. I love this quote. It says, a message without a specific request is a wasted opportunity. A message without a specific request is a wasted opportunity. That is so powerful, isn't it? It's so powerful. How many times do we go into an interview with great intentions and we leave not having asked for the very thing that we are looking for, or we're not intentional about saying, hey, and as Miss USA, as Miss Universe, as Miss America, as Miss High School America, this is what I'll do. And because not every pageant system has a closing statement, I totally understand that saying, asking for the job, actually asking for the job is not always practical. But there are ways that we can use the power of suggestion. There's two ways. We can demand for action, or we can demand for a reaction, or we can ask as a terms of suggestion. So if you have a closing statement and you want to say, and I ask you for the job in Miss America, I have some of my clients who do that. I did that at Miss America. I did that for Miss Nebraska. Worked pretty well for me. But in terms of Miss USA and some other pageant systems where you don't have a closing statement, that might seem kind of awkward, right? So reading your audience is super important. But that's where the power of suggestion is super important. So that's where I always tell my clients, as you're telling these stories, show yourself in the role of that job that you're looking for. So, and as Miss America, it's my mission to do this. As Miss America, I will do this with my community service. When you use language like that and you're putting yourself in the position of that leader, then it's right there in front of them, right? There's no guesswork. You don't want to leave any stone unturned walking out of your interview and leaving the judges being like, yeah, I liked her, but ... right? You don't want that to happen. That's the worst thing that you could do, is have this amazing interview, but not actually talk about you doing the job, and therefore you fall short. Because the judges know who you are, but they don't know your leadership potential. They don't know whether you're serious about this. So take the guesswork out of it for them and tell them, hey, and this is why I'd be amazing at this. And hey, if I was in this position, this is what I would do, right? Paint the picture for them and hand it to them on a silver platter, and let them eat baby food, not have to rip off, a piece of steak and chew it for 10 minutes. So those are the main things, you guys. That's really how simple it is. Make sure that you are connecting with the proper subjects. You have your hooks in mind. You have kind of those tie-ins. We give in the Interview Mastery Academy, as well as all of my individual clients, we give them a giant list of tie-ins. And basically what those are they are phrases that can help drop you into those deep conversations, even if they ask you really shallow questions. So they're things like, for example, I use like as a CEO, or as the sister of somebody only 18 months apart, or as the maid of honor in my sister's wedding, or as a proud Nebraskan citizen. They don't all have to start with as. They could be being somebody who's been 6 feet tall since I was 13 years old, which is true. Anyways, can't think of other ones on the top of my head, but we have a whole list of like 100 of them, and we have our clients practice using those different things to kind of drop in. You could call them drop-ins as much as tie-ins, and we have tons of awesome resources, PDFs, to help them with all these types of things. So as I've been navigating my own pageant journey for the past 6 years now as Miss Nebraska, almost 6 years ago, which is insane. I was a tiny little infant baby when I won. I've been gathering all the different things that I wish that I would have had in terms of resources and tools that were just that missing piece of the elements that were like, why the heck am I failing at this? Why is this hard for me? So we've created documents like the 21 Hacks to Perfect Pageant Paperwork that help you to really develop those interesting facts like we talked about earlier and ensure that you are not falling short in terms of paperwork, which is a huge way that individuals, as I said earlier, if you're walking away from your interview feeling like the judges don't know you, chances are your paperwork is boring, it's one-sided, it's one-dimensional, and you're really not probably showing the fullest extent of who you are, and you haven't gone to the depths of going back into those stories from your childhood and figuring out and asking those tough questions or those unexpected questions of yourself to make sure that you are even consciously aware of those things so that you can cognizantly bring those to the table in your communication and your interview. So 21 Hacks to Perfect Pageant Paperwork comes with the Interview Mastery Academy. This tie-ins document comes with the Interview Mastery Academy. You get our Hot 100 list, which is the top 100 topics that are talked about in current event questions in the political sphere. We also have a shorter list of ones that have been specifically asked in both the Miss America and Miss Universe organizations in the past 5 years. A really, really distinct one. And I update that list all the time. So we give you all these different documents. We give you documents to help you understand your personality. We give you book references and resources. We give you a buy-sell trade list of my top 20 resources if you need to maybe, I almost said pawn off, if you need to sell some old items. We have a whole community to help you do that. Trusted communities on Facebook that will help you to buy, sell, trade. If you need to get a dress for a lower price or want to sell something that you've done one time, we give you access to all that. We'll help you work on your mindset. We'll help you work on your paperwork. We'll help you develop your platform, your social impact pitch. We'll help you with our advanced questions framework, which is talking through self-questions, hobbies, family, interests, career, the pageanty questions, the opinion-based questions. We'll teach you how to get out of pigeonholes when they try and get you into, yes or no, what do you believe about this right now? We'll teach you our entire advanced questions framework of how to answer any onstage question easily. I was working with somebody who's 13 years old yesterday, answering questions about COVID and Black Lives Matter and some really tough political issues. Seriously, you guys, and they're just crushing it. And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I could use what I know. And so we just taught her a couple of our strategies in one session and she was crushing it, and she'll probably need 1 or 2 more sessions to really dominate it. But it's just been so cool to watch even my young clients just take all this up like a sponge, because strategies are things that work. Okay. So this is not just like fluffy, oh, I'm going to throw crap at a wall and hope it sticks. No, these are strategies that I'm using for literally Miss USA right now. Okay. They are trusted and proven. They are the things that I've built the building blocks of my company on the past 4.5 years. And, it's something that I'm using every day in my own communication. I've even used some of these strategies, like I said earlier, for individuals who are applying for real jobs, like not just pageants, but like actual jobs. I was just working with somebody last night on this kind of stuff. So if you want to absolutely dominate your interview this year, you need to join the beta launch of the Interview Mastery Academy. We're only taking 100 women and then we will close our doors. It's not even officially out yet, but just DM us on Instagram for more information or click the Contact Us tab at powerhousepageantry.com. And we'd love to welcome you into the beta class. There are 2 payment options. It's 50% off. 50% off of what this course is going to be in January. Okay. You'll get to give live feedback to me. We'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think is missing, and I might add it for January. Or what you're like, yeah, you had this in there, but it didn't really move the needle for me. Don't really need it. Not super important for me. I'd love your feedback. You'll get the inner circle for 50% off. And you can upgrade to one-on-one coaching sessions with me at a special rate as well. So there will never be a time like this in the future where my online course will be 50% off. And you can absolutely learn my entire system of everything that I coach, how I coach individuals on a one-on-one level, but you will get it at a designated, much lower price. And you can go at your own pace, which is super awesome. It's an 8-week course meant to be went through in 8 weeks, but with your schedule and the craziness of life and the fact that we can't go anywhere, it makes it super easy and it's a no-brainer to ensure that other people don't work harder than you, honestly, talking about your pageant prep for next year. So if you want to win and you know how important interview is and you struggle with mindset and your communication and you want to make sure that you're the complete package coming in next year, then you need to join the Interview Mastery Academy. Special beta launch users will get special communication and special perks and things like that. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So please, 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 please do not walk, run. Message us because those spots will fill up very quickly and the cart will be closed in 3 weeks. So thanks so much for listening to this awesome episode today. I really feel strongly that this helped you, and you can listen to this over and over and over if you're struggling in your communication. Join the Interview Mastery Academy. I can't wait to get to know you. I can't wait to welcome you into the family and for you to learn our system to become a better leader, rewire your mindset, and dominate your interview. So thanks, guys. I'll see you next week. Well, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Season 2 of the Powerhouse Podcast. I'm Coach Megan. As always, you can follow me at Megan_Swanson. You can DM us to join our email list. You can follow us at Powerhouse Pageantry or at the Powerhouse Project. And I'm so excited to get to continue to pour into your life spiritually, physically, financially, emotionally, mentally, and relationally. Wow, that's a mouthful. In this beautiful year of 2020. Never forget your worth. Stand up for what you believe in and allow your spirit to stand up on the inside of you to show you who you really are. Have a great day.